When you go to hug a woman, never do this. Psychology tricks. Love does not consist in gazing at each other, but in looking outward together in the same direction. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. There is a subtle mistake many men make when they hug a woman. It's almost invisible. Yet, in that brief moment, her mind reads the signal instantly. Without a single word spoken, her subconscious may already decide whether the man in front of her carries genuine masculine presence or not. What makes this even more surprising is that most men were never actually taught how physical connection communicates emotion and confidence. Instead, many simply imitate what they have seen in movies or copy what friends do, unaware that a small, awkward gesture can quietly drain attraction before any real conversation even begins. In this discussion, we're going to unpack 3 types of hugs that silently weaken chemistry the moment they happen. Each one sends a hidden message to her subconscious mind, and understanding those messages can completely change how a simple greeting is perceived. Then we'll move into a 4th kind of hug, the one that almost no one talks about. This is the interaction that tends to leave a lasting impression, the type that makes a man linger in her thoughts long after the moment has passed rather than disappearing from memory the second the encounter ends. Stay with this idea until the end, because once you understand this principle, you will begin to notice how women react differently not only to hugs, but to your overall presence and energy in everyday interactions. Let's start with an important truth many men never hear growing up. If you've ever given a hug that felt awkward, stiff, or made someone pull away slightly, it does not mean you failed as a person. In reality, most men were simply never taught the psychology behind physical connection. Schools focus on academics. Society tells men to be polite and respectful. Friends often give advice based on guesswork. Yet almost nobody explains how confident physical communication actually works. That missing lesson leaves many men second-guessing themselves in moments that should feel natural. Here's the key principle that explains why these small interactions matter so much. Women tend to feel first and analyze later. While a man may still be thinking, is this the right moment to hug her? Her emotional brain has already started processing the experience. Deep inside the mind sits the limbic system, the part responsible for instinct, emotion, and gut reactions. It responds within seconds, often before logic even enters the picture. In other words, attraction frequently begins as a feeling long before it becomes a thought. A hug, simple as it seems, is one of the fastest ways to trigger that emotional response. Physical contact moves straight past clever conversation or rehearsed lines. Within just a few seconds, her mind begins answering silent questions. Do I feel comfortable around this man? Does he carry calm confidence? Does his presence feel steady and self-assured? A man can be successful, intelligent, or charming, but if the physical moment feels uncertain or awkward, the emotional signal can override everything else. In many cases, she will quietly categorize the interaction as polite but forgettable. Understanding this dynamic is the first step toward changing it. Once you recognize how quickly these signals travel through emotion and instinct, you begin to see that small details carry powerful meaning. And that realization opens the door to a deeper awareness of how presence, confidence, and simple gestures shape the way people remember you. Error number 1. The weak hug. There is a quiet but powerful truth about human connection that most men completely overlook, especially when it comes to physical gestures like a hug. It looks simple. It feels casual. Yet in the world of female psychology, a hug can communicate more in 2 seconds than an entire hour of conversation. That is why understanding the subtle psychology tricks behind a hug is not just helpful, it is essential. The great writer Maya Angelou once said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." A hug is exactly that moment. A moment that creates a feeling. A moment that silently tells a woman who you are before you even speak. And the first mistake many men make, the one that quietly drains attraction without them realizing it, is what we can call the weak hug. You have seen this hug. You have probably given this hug. And if we are honest, you have probably received this hug too. It is the one where the arms barely connect. The bodies stay awkwardly far apart. The contact lasts less than a second, almost like two people are politely touching coats rather than greeting each other. Sometimes it is that famous half-hearted side hug. One arm reaches out while the other stays glued to the body. There might even be that polite pat on the back, the kind someone gives a distant relative at a family gathering. Nothing about it feels warm. Nothing about it feels intentional. And nothing about it feels confident. The whole gesture carries an invisible message. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. Now here is where female psychology becomes incredibly interesting. Women are extremely sensitive to emotional signals and body language, not because they are analyzing it logically in their mind, but because their subconscious is always scanning for emotional consistency. Their brain is asking quiet questions in the background. Is this man comfortable in his own presence? Does he feel grounded? Is his energy steady? Is he relaxed around me? These questions happen in a split second, and a weak hug answers those questions before a man even opens his mouth. This is where many psychology tricks about attraction become clear. Attraction is not only about looks or words. It is about emotional signals. A weak hug communicates hesitation. It communicates doubt. It communicates a man who seems unsure about the moment he is in. And hesitation is contagious. When a man hesitates physically, the emotional atmosphere changes immediately. The moment becomes slightly awkward, slightly unclear. The connection that could have been warm and grounded instead becomes cautious and distant. Imagine this moment from her perspective. She steps forward expecting a warm greeting. Maybe she feels a little excited. Maybe she is curious about you. Maybe she has already invested emotional energy into meeting you. But when the hug happens, it feels light, fragile, almost like you are afraid of the contact itself. Her mind may not consciously say anything about it. She may still smile. She may still continue the conversation. But emotionally, something subtle shifts. That shift is small, yet powerful. The energy drops just a little. This is one of the most fascinating elements of female psychology. Women rarely evaluate attraction through a checklist. They evaluate it through emotional resonance. They simply feel whether the moment felt grounded or uncertain, whether it felt natural or slightly off, whether it felt warm or strangely distant. And a weak hug, unfortunately, often lands in that something feels off category. I have spoken with many women who describe dates exactly this way. They would say something like, "He seemed nice, but something just didn't click." Or they would say, "I can't explain it. He was polite, but the energy felt strange." When you dig deeper into those experiences, you often find that the very first physical interaction set the tone. In many cases, it started with a weak hug. Not rude, not inappropriate, just uncertain. And uncertainty quietly lowers attraction. This is where learning a few simple psychology tricks can completely transform how you show up in these moments. Because the issue is not the hug itself. The issue is the emotional message behind the hug. A hug should communicate presence. It should communicate ease. It should communicate that you are comfortable being exactly where you are. When those signals are present, a hug becomes warm and natural. When they are missing, even a simple gesture feels hesitant. Think about the difference between touching something carefully because you're afraid of breaking it and holding something naturally because you trust your own hands. That difference is subtle, yet anyone can feel it instantly. The same principle applies here. When a man hugs a woman lightly because he is afraid of doing the wrong thing, the hesitation is visible. When he hugs with calm presence and natural warmth, the gesture feels completely different. Another layer of female psychology that many men overlook is emotional leadership. This does not mean controlling the situation. It simply means bringing emotional clarity into the moment. When a man greets a woman with steady, relaxed body language, he naturally creates a comfortable space for her. She does not have to guess what the interaction means. She does not have to wonder if the hug was appropriate. The moment simply feels clear. That clarity allows attraction to breathe. But when the hug is weak, the opposite happens. The moment becomes slightly confusing. The body language says one thing while the situation suggests another. The result is emotional hesitation. And hesitation is the enemy of romantic momentum. This is why understanding psychology tricks about attraction is so valuable. Small details create big emotional impressions. Let's slow this moment down and look at it carefully. A weak hug usually contains several signals at once. The arms are loose instead of intentional. The body leans away instead of leaning naturally forward. The contact ends quickly, almost as if the man is rushing to escape the moment. These small details combine into one emotional message, uncertainty. And uncertainty quietly lowers excitement. In contrast, a natural hug has a completely different rhythm. The arms connect comfortably. The bodies move into the greeting without tension. The contact lasts just long enough to feel warm but not awkward. There is no rushing, no hesitation, just a simple, relaxed greeting between two people. That difference may sound small, but in the language of female psychology, it is enormous. Understanding how to fall in love, or more accurately, how attraction begins, often comes down to these emotional signals. Love rarely starts with grand speeches. It starts with subtle feelings of comfort, curiosity, and emotional safety. A confident, relaxed hug can quietly contribute to those feelings. A weak hug can quietly undermine them. Another important point many men miss is that women do not expect perfection. They do not expect a rehearsed performance. What they respond to is authenticity combined with emotional stability. When a man appears comfortable in his own skin, the interaction feels easy. That ease is attractive. That ease creates space for connection to grow. But when a man appears unsure of himself physically, the emotional atmosphere becomes cautious. One of the most effective psychology tricks is surprisingly simple. Be present in the moment. Do not overthink the hug. Do not rush through it as if it were a technical requirement before the conversation begins. Treat it as a genuine greeting. When you do that, your body language naturally becomes more relaxed. Your arms move naturally. Your posture becomes grounded. And that natural energy communicates confidence without a single word. Another important element of female psychology is emotional consistency. Women notice when a man's words and body language match. If a man says he is happy to see her but his hug feels distant, the signals conflict. The mind senses the inconsistency even if it cannot explain it. But when the greeting feels warm and aligned with the situation, everything flows more smoothly. It is also important to understand that attraction grows from emotional comfort. Many men believe attraction comes only from bold gestures or impressive achievements. In reality, attraction often begins with simple moments that feel good emotionally. A relaxed conversation, shared laughter, a comfortable hug. These moments build the emotional bridge that later leads to deeper connection. When studying how to fall in love from a psychological perspective, researchers often highlight the importance of micro-interactions. These are small exchanges that happen early in an interaction and quietly shape the emotional tone. A hug is one of the most powerful micro-interactions because it combines physical presence with emotional energy. That is why even tiny details in a hug can influence the entire interaction that follows. So, what should a man remember from all this? First, do not underestimate the power of the first greeting. That moment sets the emotional frame for everything that follows. Second, understand that female psychology responds strongly to emotional clarity. A relaxed, confident hug communicates clarity. A weak hug communicates uncertainty. And third, remember that attraction often begins in subtle ways. Small signals accumulate into emotional impressions. If you truly want to understand psychology tricks that influence attraction, start by observing body language, both yours and hers. Notice how confident people move when they greet others. Notice how natural their gestures feel. They are not forcing anything. They are simply comfortable being present. That comfort creates warmth, and warmth is magnetic. The goal is not to perform a perfect hug. The goal is to remove hesitation from the moment. When hesitation disappears, natural connection appears. When natural connection appears, attraction has space to grow. And that is the real secret hidden inside many psychology tricks. Confidence is often just relaxed presence. When a man learns this lesson, everything changes. His greetings feel more genuine. His interactions feel more grounded. Women respond with more openness because the emotional atmosphere feels clear and comfortable. And suddenly, those mysterious moments when someone says, something just feels right about him, begin to appear more often. So remember this simple principle the next time you greet a woman. Do not rush. Do not shrink away from the moment. Be present. Be relaxed. Let the hug be natural. Because in the quiet language of female psychology, that small gesture is not small at all. It is the first chapter in the story of connection. It is one of the simplest psychology tricks that shapes how attraction begins. And sometimes it is the very first step in how to fall in love. Error number 2, the aggressive hug. This mistake sits at the opposite extreme of the previous one, yet it destroys attraction just as quickly. Many men believe that squeezing harder or holding longer somehow communicates passion or masculine energy, but that belief is deeply mistaken. When you hug a woman too tightly, hold on far beyond the natural rhythm of a greeting, or allow your hands to drift into places that clearly do not belong in a simple hello, the message you send is not confidence. It is pressure. It is intrusion. And the female nervous system reacts instantly. In a fraction of a second, her subconscious begins scanning the situation for safety. Instead of thinking, this man feels grounded and attractive, her body quietly asks a very different question. Does this man respect my boundaries? That silent question is often enough to erase the spark that may have been forming between you. Attraction depends heavily on emotional comfort, and comfort disappears the moment a person feels their personal space is being invaded. A high-value man understands this instinctively. He does not try to prove his masculine energy through physical force. He expresses masculine energy through control, calm awareness, and social intelligence. The aggressive hug sends the opposite signal. When the squeeze is too strong or the hold lingers too long, her body interprets it as a lack of awareness, a man who may not fully read social cues, a man who pushes instead of sensing the moment. And once that impression appears, her nervous system shifts into protection mode. Her shoulders tighten slightly. Her body stops leaning toward you. Her mind begins analyzing rather than relaxing. The emotional flow breaks. I have seen countless situations where a man who seemed impressive in every other way lost the entire opportunity because of this one small mistake. On paper, he looked perfect. Good conversation, strong presence, charismatic personality. But the hug was too intense, too long, too much. And that single moment caused her to pull back emotionally. Her system registered discomfort and never fully returned to openness. This is why calibration matters so much. Attraction often grows in quiet, subtle ways, and small physical signals carry enormous meaning. A greeting hug may last only 2 seconds, yet in those 2 seconds, her mind gathers a surprising amount of information about you. Does this man feel relaxed? Does he understand boundaries? Does he move with calm masculine energy? Or does he overwhelm the moment? A high-value man moves with balance. His hug is warm but not forceful, firm but never crushing, present but never lingering awkwardly. He steps in, gives a natural embrace, and releases smoothly. That simple action communicates confidence far more effectively than any exaggerated display of intensity. True masculine energy is not about overpowering the moment. It is about mastering your own energy within it. When you learn to regulate your presence, you naturally attract women because they feel safe and comfortable around you. Comfort is the soil where attraction grows. Pressure is the storm that destroys it. So remember this clearly. Never confuse aggression with confidence. Never assume that stronger physical contact creates stronger chemistry. In reality, it often does the opposite. The most attractive presence is calm, controlled, and aware. When you hug a woman, be relaxed. Enter the moment naturally. Keep the embrace brief, respectful, and balanced. That is the behavior of a high-value man. That is masculine energy expressed through quiet confidence. And that is exactly the kind of energy that makes it easier to attract women without forcing anything at all. If that message hits you, then lock it into your mindset right now. A high-value man understands one simple truth: attraction grows from respect, awareness, and control, not force, not pressure, not invading her space. When you hug a woman, your masculine energy should feel calm, grounded, and safe, never overwhelming. That is how men who truly attract women move through the world. So if you understand this principle, drop a comment right now. Respect creates attraction. Like the video, subscribe for more timeless psychology and masculine wisdom, and remember this: every time you step closer to a woman, confidence attracts, pressure repels. Error number 3, the ghost hug. Error number 3 is what I call the ghost hug, and this one quietly destroys attraction more than almost any other mistake, because it sends a message a woman can feel instantly even if she cannot explain it in words. You are physically there, but mentally you are somewhere else. Your arms go around her, but your attention is wandering. Your eyes drift over her shoulder, scanning the room. Your mind is on your phone, the next conversation, the next distraction. Your body becomes stiff, your breathing tight, and sometimes you pull away the moment contact begins, as if the hug itself made you uncomfortable. That moment creates a powerful signal in her subconscious. Not anger, not tension, something worse: absence, emotional absence, physical presence without emotional presence. And human beings, especially in moments of touch, are incredibly sensitive to presence. As the old philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Wherever a human being is, there is an opportunity for kindness." A hug is one of the simplest opportunities for that kindness. When you miss that opportunity, the message is unmistakable. She feels it immediately. He doesn't care. I'm not important to him in this moment. And that feeling lands far deeper than many men realize. In fact, many women report that the ghost hug feels more painful than an overly soft hug or even an overly intense one. Why? Because it feels like rejection happening while you are still touching her. Your arms say connection, but your attention says distance. That contradiction creates confusion in the mind and disappointment in the heart. Think about modern life for a moment. We live in an age of constant distraction. Phones buzzing, notifications lighting up, conversations interrupted every 30 seconds by a glance at a screen. People are everywhere, but presence is rare. True attention has become one of the most valuable emotional currencies in the world. That is why a ghost hug quietly destroys chemistry. It communicates that you are distracted, disconnected, and unavailable in the one moment that should feel simple and warm. And attraction cannot grow in distraction. Attraction grows in presence. A man who wants to attract women must understand this deeply. Presence is power. Calm attention is magnetic. When a woman feels that a man is truly present with her, even for 10 seconds, something inside her nervous system relaxes. That is not manipulation. That is basic human psychology. It is also perfectly aligned with old Stoic wisdom, which teaches that the greatest power a person can develop is mastery over their own attention. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "You become what you give your attention to. If your attention is scattered, your presence feels scattered. If your attention is steady, your presence feels steady." That is where the concept of the iron mind begins. An iron mind is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is not performative. An iron mind is disciplined attention, the ability to be fully in the moment, the ability to give someone your focus without being pulled in 20 directions by the noise of the world. Men who practice this naturally radiate a calm authority that people notice immediately. This is exactly the kind of principle that the philosophy behind Stoicism tries to bring back into modern relationships. Not tricks, not games, but mastery of the self. And when you apply this idea to something as simple as a hug, the results are remarkable. Think about it. A hug lasts only a few seconds. Yet in those few seconds, the human brain reads dozens of signals. Is this person relaxed or tense? Are they comfortable or hesitant? Are they present or distracted? Are they genuinely happy to see me or simply going through the motions? Your body language answers all of those questions before you say a single word. When you give a ghost hug, your body says, "I'm not really here." And the brain of the person receiving that hug registers it instantly. Humans evolved to read subtle signals of attention because attention historically meant safety and belonging. Being ignored signaled social distance. That wiring still lives inside us today. That is why the ghost hug hurts more than many men expect. It triggers the ancient human fear of not mattering. And here is the uncomfortable truth most men never hear. Many men give ghost hugs without realizing it. They think the hug itself is enough. They think the gesture is what counts. But the gesture without presence becomes empty. It becomes mechanical. It becomes something you perform instead of something you share. And people can feel that difference immediately. If you want to become a man who naturally attracts women, you must develop something rare in the modern world: undivided attention. An iron mind that does not scatter itself in every direction. That idea sits at the heart of old Stoic wisdom. The Stoics understood that a distracted mind is a restless mind, and a restless mind cannot create calm relationships. The more disciplined your attention becomes, the more steady your emotional presence becomes. That steadiness is what people trust. It is what makes you memorable. It is what quietly attracts women without effort. Because genuine presence communicates respect. Respect communicates maturity. And maturity is deeply attractive. Let's be honest for a moment. Many men are physically present but mentally absent in modern interactions. They hug someone while already thinking about leaving. They shake hands while looking around the room. They say hello while checking their phone. None of these behaviors seem dramatic. Yet together they create an impression of detachment. And detachment kills chemistry. Chemistry requires emotional availability. It requires attention. It requires the sense that two people are actually sharing a moment together. When that happens, even a brief hug can feel warm and natural. Without it, the gesture feels hollow. That is why the ghost hug is such a silent destroyer of connection. It is not aggressive. It is not obviously wrong. It simply feels empty. And emptiness is something the human nervous system recognizes immediately. The solution is simple but powerful. When you hug a woman, slow down your attention. Breathe normally. Relax your shoulders. Make the moment real instead of mechanical. That does not mean holding the hug too long. It does not mean turning it into a dramatic gesture. It simply means being mentally present for the 2 seconds it happens. That small adjustment changes everything, because the energy becomes authentic. And authenticity is always attractive. The Stoics believed that greatness in life is built through mastery of small moments, not grand speeches, not dramatic gestures. Small moments done well. Greeting someone with presence, listening carefully, responding calmly, showing respect through attention. These are simple habits, yet they shape how the world experiences you. When you live this way, you embody the philosophy behind Stoicism. Win naturally. Calm mind, clear presence, strong character, and that calm presence becomes visible in even the smallest interactions, including a simple hug. So remember this principle: never give a ghost hug. Never let your body be present while your mind is absent. When you greet a woman, be there, fully there. 2 seconds of genuine presence are more powerful than 10 seconds of distracted contact. Train your attention. Build the discipline of the iron mind. Practice the clarity taught in old Stoic wisdom. When you do, your presence becomes something people feel immediately. And in a world overflowing with distraction, a man who is truly present stands out more than he realizes. The Stoics believed that the mind should be trained the same way a warrior trains his body: calm, controlled, focused. When your mind learns to settle into the present moment, your entire presence changes. Your posture softens, your breathing slows, your eye contact becomes steady. You no longer look like a man chasing approval. You look like a man grounded in himself. That grounded energy is deeply attractive because it signals emotional stability. The kind of stability many people feel is missing in today's fast-moving world. Now imagine the difference between a ghost hug and a present hug. In the ghost hug, your arms touch her, but your mind is scanning the room. Your breath is shallow. Your body is tense. The contact ends quickly because you are already mentally somewhere else. In a present hug, the energy is completely different. Your attention is fully there. Your body is relaxed. Your breathing is calm. You greet her like a human being you are genuinely happy to see. No rush, no tension, no performance, just simple presence. That small difference changes the entire emotional experience. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." That principle applies beautifully to human connection. When you hug someone, enjoy that moment for exactly what it is. Do not rush past it. Do not perform it mechanically. Do not treat it like a social obligation. Treat it as a moment of genuine connection. That is how a man practices Stoicism when in real life. Not through speeches about philosophy, but through quiet mastery of small moments. Presence during a conversation. Calmness during pressure. Respect during physical contact. Those habits build the reputation of a man who carries himself with dignity. And women notice that far more than most men realize. Because presence signals emotional safety. It signals confidence without arrogance. It signals awareness. A man who is present communicates that he values the moment and the person in front of him. That message travels through body language far louder than words ever could. In contrast, the ghost hug communicates the opposite. It suggests distraction. It suggests impatience. It suggests a lack of emotional awareness. Again, not because the man intends it that way, but because his attention is scattered. That is why developing an iron mind is so powerful. When you train your attention, you train your presence. When you train your presence, you transform how people experience you. Think about the most memorable people you have ever met. Chances are they had one quality in common. When they spoke to you, they were actually there. They listened. They looked at you. They did not seem rushed. That feeling leaves a lasting impression. That is presence. And presence is becoming rare. The irony is that modern technology has made connection easier than ever while simultaneously making genuine presence harder than ever. People talk constantly, yet attention is divided. Messages are everywhere, yet focus is rare. This is exactly why the ghost hug has become so common today. People are used to half attention, half listening, half being there. But attraction does not grow in half energy. Attraction grows in clarity and presence. When a man greets a woman with calm attention, she feels that difference immediately. She may not articulate it logically, but her nervous system reads it clearly. This man is grounded. This man is calm. This man is here. Those impressions form faster than conscious thought. And they matter. Deeply. The philosopher William James once said, "My experience is what I agree to attend to." Your life is shaped by your attention. If your attention is scattered, your experiences feel scattered. If your attention is disciplined, your presence becomes powerful. That is the essence of an iron mind. The ability to choose where your attention goes, not letting every distraction pull you away from the moment. And when you bring that level of attention into your interactions with women, the difference becomes obvious. Conversations feel smoother. Eye contact feels natural. Physical gestures like hugs feel warm instead of awkward. Nothing forced. Nothing rehearsed. Just presence. And presence is magnetic. Many men spend years trying to learn complicated techniques to attract women. Lines, scripts, strategies. But they overlook one of the most fundamental principles of human connection. Be present. Fully present. When you greet someone, greet them. When you hug someone, hug them. When you speak with someone, speak with them. Do not split your attention between 5 things at once. That scattered energy leaks through your body language instantly. And the human brain picks up on it. Practicing old Stoic wisdom helps solve this problem beautifully because Stoicism trains awareness of the present moment. Number 4. The real masculine hug. The real masculine hug is not about force, performance, or imitation. It is about presence, clarity, and calm leadership. This is the moment where most men either unknowingly sabotage attraction or quietly build it. And the difference often happens in just a few seconds. When you approach a woman and open your arms, remember this: a hug is never just a greeting. It is communication without words. It is a signal that her mind and body read instantly through the lens of female psychology. That is why understanding small but powerful psychology tricks can completely change the way a simple hug is experienced. Most men rush. Most men hesitate. Most men imitate what they have seen in movies or what their friends do. But attraction rarely responds to imitation. It responds to authenticity, presence, and emotional steadiness. The real masculine hug begins before your arms even move. It begins with your posture. Your feet should be grounded, about shoulder width apart. Not stiff, not rigid, just stable. Your knees slightly relaxed, your spine straight, your shoulders open. That is not just body language, that is a message. Physical stability communicates emotional stability. And according to female psychology, emotional stability is one of the strongest subconscious signals a woman can feel from a man. Her mind may still be thinking about the conversation, but her nervous system is already reading your body like a silent language. When your stance is calm and balanced, her body registers safety and confidence before a single word is spoken. Do not wait awkwardly for her to initiate the hug. Lead the moment calmly, not aggressively, not abruptly. Simply step forward with relaxed certainty and open your arms naturally, as if this interaction is the most normal thing in the world. Because confidence is quiet. Confidence does not ask permission from the room. It simply moves with ease. One of the most effective psychology tricks within attraction dynamics is understanding that leadership in small social moments creates emotional clarity. When a man gently leads a hug, he removes uncertainty. And uncertainty is one of the fastest ways to break emotional flow. Now pay attention to where your hands go. This detail alone separates a thoughtful hug from an awkward one. Your first hand should rest between her shoulder blades, not high on the neck, not low on the waist, right between the shoulder blades. That position feels supportive, warm, and respectful. It creates a subtle sense of protection without crossing personal boundaries. Your other hand should settle gently on the middle of her upper back. This placement keeps the hug balanced and comfortable. Chest-to-chest alignment is important here. Not leaning sideways, not half-turning. Face her directly. That alignment communicates sincerity. It tells her your attention is fully present in the moment. According to female psychology, presence is deeply attractive because it makes a woman feel seen rather than scanned or evaluated. Now here comes the element that almost no one talks about, yet it might be the most powerful part of the entire interaction: breathing. Yes, breathing. When you hug her, slow down your breath. Deep, relaxed, steady breathing. Do not hold your breath out of nervousness. Do not rush the moment. Let your chest rise and fall slowly. This is not just about relaxation. It is a biological signal. Human nervous systems naturally synchronize with the breathing rhythms of people they are physically close to. This phenomenon is well studied in psychology and emotional bonding. When your breathing is calm and steady, her body begins to match that rhythm without conscious effort. This is one of the most subtle yet powerful psychology tricks in real connection. Calmness spreads. Stillness spreads. Emotional stability spreads. And suddenly the hug stops feeling like a quick social gesture and starts feeling like a grounded human connection. This is how emotional comfort forms in seconds. When you understand how to fall in love dynamics, you realize that attraction often grows from moments of calm safety rather than dramatic gestures. The duration of the hug also matters more than most men realize. Too quick and it feels distant. Too long and it becomes uncomfortable. The sweet spot is usually between 2 and 4 seconds. That window is long enough for her nervous system to register warmth and presence, but short enough to keep the moment smooth and natural. Timing, in many ways, is one of the quiet foundations of psychology tricks. When something ends at exactly the right moment, it leaves a pleasant emotional echo instead of awkwardness. Another powerful detail: you end the hug. Do not cling. Do not wait for her to pull away first. Leadership means knowing when to close the moment gracefully. As you release the hug, allow your hands to slide gently down her arms for a brief second as you step back. This movement softens the transition from closeness to distance. It keeps the energy warm rather than abrupt. Eye contact follows. Just one extra second of eye contact. Calm, relaxed, genuine. Then offer a small smile and perhaps a quiet greeting that fits the situation. Something simple like, "Hey, good to see you." These small gestures might appear insignificant, but in the language of female psychology, they are rich signals of confidence and emotional clarity. Attraction rarely grows from loud actions. It grows from small behaviors repeated with authenticity. When you understand how to fall in love dynamics, you start to notice that emotional comfort often begins in these micro moments. A hug can become a preview of who you are as a man. It quietly tells her whether you are rushed or grounded, distracted or present, uncertain or calm. And remember this important principle: people rarely analyze these moments consciously. She will not walk away thinking, his breathing pattern created emotional synchronization. That is not how human experience works. Instead, she simply carries a feeling. She walks away thinking, that felt nice, or that felt natural, or there's something calming about him. That emotional memory is what lingers. Female psychology operates heavily through emotional impressions rather than analytical breakdowns. That is why mastering these subtle psychology tricks matters so much. They shape the emotional atmosphere around you. And emotional atmosphere is often what determines whether attraction grows or fades. Another important factor is intention. A masculine hug is intentional but never rushed. It says, "I am here." It says, "This moment matters." Too many men approach social interactions with scattered attention, thinking about the next joke, the next conversation topic, the next move. But presence is magnetic. When you hug someone with full attention, even for 3 seconds, it creates a feeling of authenticity that is difficult to fake. Authentic presence is deeply aligned with how to fall in love psychology because people naturally gravitate toward those who make them feel emotionally grounded. Think about it this way: a hug is one of the few social moments where two people share the same physical space with no distractions, no screens, no distance. It is a direct emotional signal. And when that signal carries steadiness, warmth, and clarity, it becomes memorable. Over time, these moments accumulate. Each interaction becomes a small piece of a larger emotional picture. The next time she sees you, her body remembers that calm feeling before her mind even catches up. This is the quiet advantage of understanding female psychology. You are no longer relying on luck or random chemistry. You are simply creating the conditions where comfort and attraction naturally grow. Another overlooked psychology trick involves emotional pacing. Many men think attraction comes from intensity, but intensity without comfort creates pressure, and pressure breaks connection. A grounded hug sets the tone for emotional pacing. It tells her that you move through interactions with patience and awareness. That kind of pacing makes conversation smoother, laughter more relaxed, and eye contact more natural. In the broader context of how to fall in love, emotional pacing is crucial. Relationships rarely grow from dramatic spikes of emotion alone. They grow from consistent moments of safety, respect, and warmth. The hug is simply the opening note of that rhythm. And when that opening note feels calm and confident, everything that follows becomes easier. It is also important to understand that masculinity in this context is not about exaggeration. It is not about squeezing harder, speaking louder, or trying to appear impressive. Real masculine presence is calm, quietly confident, comfortable in the moment. When your hug communicates those qualities, it aligns perfectly with what female psychology naturally finds reassuring and attractive. Think of it as emotional leadership, not control, not performance, just leadership through steadiness. Another subtle psychology trick is emotional memory anchoring. Humans associate feelings with people and places. If someone consistently creates a calm and positive emotional experience, the brain begins to link that feeling with that person. Over time, seeing that person again automatically triggers the memory of those good emotions. That is why a thoughtful hug can carry surprising influence. It becomes the first emotional imprint of the interaction. When you combine posture, breathing, timing, and presence, you create an experience that feels balanced and sincere. And sincerity is powerful. In a world where many interactions feel rushed or distracted, sincerity stands out immediately. If you truly want to understand how to fall in love dynamics, remember that attraction is rarely about perfection. It is about emotional resonance. People feel comfortable around those who are comfortable with themselves. When your body language communicates ease, your presence becomes inviting rather than overwhelming. That is the essence of the real masculine hug. It is grounded, intentional, and respectful. It carries warmth without pressure. It carries leadership without arrogance. And most importantly, it reflects the kind of man you are becoming. Because every small interaction is a preview of your character. The way you greet someone, the way you listen, the way you hug, these moments quietly reveal your emotional discipline and awareness. Many men search endlessly for complicated techniques to attract women, yet they overlook the simple power of presence. Understanding female psychology and practicing small psychology tricks like calm breathing, steady posture, and thoughtful timing can transform everyday interactions into meaningful moments of connection. And when those moments repeat over time, something powerful begins to happen. Trust grows, comfort grows, attraction grows. Not because you forced it, but because you created the right emotional environment for it to appear naturally. So the next time you hug a woman, remember this. You are not just greeting her. You are communicating who you are without speaking. Stand grounded. Move calmly. Breathe slowly. Hold the moment for just a few seconds. Release with warmth. Maintain eye contact. Smile. These details may seem simple, but simplicity is often where the deepest psychology tricks live. Master these small moments, and you will notice something interesting. People begin to feel different around you. Conversations become easier, energy becomes lighter. And without trying to impress anyone, you quietly become the kind of man whose presence people remember long after the hug has ended. All right, my friend, before you go, let me say this. Thank you for being here and staying with me all the way to the end. That already tells me something important about you. You're a man who wants to understand things better. A man who is willing to learn, adjust, and grow. And that alone already puts you ahead of most guys out there. Now listen closely. If at any moment during this video you caught yourself thinking, man, I've probably been doing that hug my whole life, don't worry. Most men have. Nobody ever teaches us these tiny details, yet those tiny details speak louder than words. The way you hug a woman in the first few seconds can communicate confidence, respect, and calm presence, or it can quietly erase attraction before the conversation even begins. That's why awareness matters. And the moment you become aware, you can change it immediately. So here's my simple advice to you. Be calm, be respectful, and be intentional. Don't rush the hug. Don't hesitate either. Step in with relaxed confidence. Keep it natural, keep it respectful, and let your energy speak for you. A good hug isn't about pressure or technique. It's about presence. When you show up steady and genuine, women feel it instantly. And if this video made you realize something about your own habits, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button so I know this message reached the right people. Then subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because every week we break down these small psychological details that most people never notice, but that make a huge difference in real life. Also, I'm curious about you. Drop a comment below and tell me honestly, out of the 3 bad hugs we talked about, which one have you been guilty of the most? And more importantly, are you ready to switch to the confident, respectful hug starting tonight? I read the comments, and I try to reply to as many as I can because I want to know where you're at in your journey. Thank you again for watching until the end. That already shows you're serious about improving yourself. Keep learning, keep showing up, keep becoming a better version of yourself every single day. And I'll see you in the next video.